Now, we will elaborate on the preparatory state of the mechanism of love, in the semi-subtle realm. Mankind's leaving the world means, they're leaving their physical bodies, which consist of coarse hydrogen combinations belonging to the world, and returning to their original state, the state of being. The beings who use human bodies, as we previously said, are a very subtle state of matter, which is so distanced from the concept and reality of world matter that it cannot even be called matter. Such a state cannot be matter in mankind's view, because a being has no material quality, in the sense accepted and recognized by mankind. Because of this, we previously termed the beings a complex of influences. Consequently, when the being, who is an influences or energies complex, leaves the world, that is, its body, and while it is in a completely bodiless state, it catches a semi-subtle matter combination, and connects to it, in order to utilize as an influence vehicle in the plan of love. At that moment, this combination substitutes its coarse body in the world. This matter exists in a semi-subtle state, between world matter and subtle matter of the plan of duty. However, it draws near to the world by its coarse side, as well as to the plan of duty, by its subtle side. Therefore, we call it semi-subtle matter, and the place which is made up of these matters, the semi-subtle realm. The beings of the semi-subtle cosmos can build realities akin to the concepts of time and space in the world, out of these matters, by utilizing their sides which are close to world matter. And also they can live in these real images they have built. The degrees of subtlety of the matter, which are helpful to them in building these spaces, may well be perceptible in setting, by the very sensitive tools of the world. Since these beings have not yet entered the plan of duty, no duty, even automatic ones, is given to them. Because of this, they do not intervene with the evolution of any beings, and interfere with their activities. They do not have such an authorization yet. For a being, who has entered the semi-subtle realm, the real purpose is to reach the plan of duty. 4. Matter states in the plan of duty are subtle matter, and in order to do duty in that plan, the beings need to be free of remaining connected to a single semi-subtle matter combination. So, the beings in there have a very powerful means to overcome this obstacle, and that is love. Therefore, love in the intermediary plan is a sublime vehicle helping to overcome the semi-subtle matter of that plan, through sweet and joyful struggles, which are devoid of any kind of suffering and sadness. Entering the plan of duty means accepting some obligations of duty, and possessing the power and possibilities to execute the necessities of these duties. Therefore, the being in the plan of duty needs to use various matter which are suitable to duties. However, a being who has not reached this state yet deeply internalizes the semi-subtle matter combination it caught after it left the world and cannot leave from it. And when it cannot leave from this matter, it cannot have the possibility of various subtle matter, and as a result of this, it cannot render any duty. This is because it needs to utilize various subtle matter and milieux in order to do that duty, but its semi-subtle matter which it cannot leave prevents this. Therefore, for the beings in there to be able to pass to the plan of duty, it is necessary to leave this semi-subtle matter forthwith, which they initially caught, that is, which they use like a kind of body for themselves. They must be able to do this, so they can use different subtle or semi-subtle matter as they wish, in order to execute the necessities of a duty, which may be their lot, and which they can change immediately, in accordance with necessities. So, their most powerful tool, which will help them in leaving their semi-subtle matter, which they caught as soon as they passed to the semi-subtle realm and could not let go, will be love. These beings, in doing various applications of love, will be freed of remaining connected only to a single semi-subtle matter. They will be able to leave that matter when they want to, and will be able to use different matter instead of it. Therefore, as we have just mentioned above, this semi-subtle matter, which is initially caught by the beings who have passed to the plan of love, becomes a kind of earthly craving of them, which needs to be overcome during the completion of the preparations in there. By setting this matter aside, they overcome their earthly craving, and from that moment on, they reach the first steps of the plan of duty. And the vehicle, which helps in attaining the success here is love, in all kinds of variations. In this plan, a certain length of time needs to pass, from the beginning to the attainment of a complete accomplishment. Duration of this period varies in accordance with beings. For some it is quite long, whereas for some it may be short. It is difficult to determine this period with world time. 4. Time which is used as a measurement for this period, is a time beyond the world's comprehension. Therefore, it is much more encompassing than world time. For example, if we accept the longest period to be passed there, as 300 years as measured by world time, this period can be 3,000 years or more, with the perceptual time of this place. And there is still no certainty about it. The time of that place cannot be compared with that of the world, because these values always vary in accordance with comprehensions. In the deeds of the superworld, comprehension time and comprehension space prevail. However, it is because the beings of the plan of love will use the side of the semi-subtle matter, which is closer to the world during their initial time there, that is, during the times when they are still strongly connected to semi-subtle matter, they can live in realities closer to the world. Likewise, although comprehension time fully prevails outside the world, the beings who use semi-subtle matter can build spaces as well, which are more or less akin to world space, by utilizing the sides of these matter which are close to the world. Nevertheless, as these beings properly increase their comprehensions, by doing applications of love in there, and as they free themselves from remaining connected to semi-subtle matter, their time and space as well, start to acquire encompassing characters of perceptual time and space accordingly, and at the moment they are completely free of this semi-subtle matter combination, no activity is left in them belonging to the material realities, and then, by using the matter they wish in required places, according to the duties they will take on, they can utilize all kinds of time and space realities, which that matter is subject to. Because they do not have continuous connection to certain matter, after they are freed of the semi-subtle matter, they have in their subtle beings, the enabling power to use and let go of the matter they want. Therefore, a being in the plan of love, who is able to let go of its semi-subtle matter, and to pass to the plan of duty means that, it does not remain connected to any matter, but remains as the essence being, that is, in a state of developed energies complex, and that, it is able to use any matter it wants, whenever it wants with this energy, and that, it is able to influence and intervene in the realms to which this matter is subject, and to execute many deeds and do many duties in those places, and a being in the semi-subtle can only attain these possibilities by carrying out various applications of love, which is sweet, joyous and full of pleasure and enjoyment. Now, let us describe the semi-subtle realm. This is a realm constituted by the energies belonging to the highest combinations of the hydrogen atom, which is the nucleus of our matter cosmos. These high energies, which do not exist within the accustomed realities of our current world, constitute the coarsest atoms of the semi-subtle realm. Here, we see it necessary to caution against allowing a misunderstanding. The semi-subtle milieu should not be mistaken with the state we call the spatium, which is previously mentioned as the place, which beings who have not yet been freed from the human body realities will enter, as usual between their deaths and births. The spatium is not a milieu or a space. This place is only a state of the being severing its interests and relations with its surroundings, while the being temporarily separates from the bodily bonds, and returns to its essence being. It is still a man in this state of its, and he has not got out of the world, but he is a man who has severed all of his interests with the outside, and remains in a state of privacy with his essence being only. At that moment, any space for him is out of the question. His space remains as merely a perceptual point, where its being has gathered around, as we previously mentioned. Whereas, the semi-subtle realm which we now talk about, is a melia and space which is the suprahydrogen cosmos, and a very subtle and encompassing melia compared to it. This melia is only particular to the beings, who have been absolutely freed from the world. It is a matter state, constituted out of the subtle energy particles, which are emanated spontaneously, always under the control of sublime beings in duty, by the most superior and evolved hydrogen combination of the world. The first vehicle, which is used and bonded by the beings who pass to this realm, is a certain matter combination made out of semi-subtle matter, as we said. The beings increase their adequacy and merits by using this combination, as well as by struggling with it on the path of love. And because there is no dense matter similar to that of the world, tiring, tedious, arduous, difficult and slow progressing activities, as in the world, do not exist in this plan. Due to the wide scope of possibilities of semi-subtle matter, with the smallest effort, the beings in this cosmos will obtain results, which can only be obtained after working very hard for many years in the world, with much stress and tiredness. Because of this, there are no coarse states in this plan, such as hard work, tiredness, suffering, strife and struggle contrary to the way it is in the world. In here, all desires become realized with a small push of will, with only a wish, as if they occur automatically, spontaneously. For example, the being can build a space for itself, and live in there as it wishes, due to the rich possibilities of semi-subtle matter at its hands. Again, it can create the forms it wishes with the same matter it uses, by a simple act of imagination, and turn them into objective values for itself. During all of these applications, the being does not feel any of the things called tiredness by mankind. In accordance with the necessities of semi-subtle matter in this plan, the disorders pertaining to coarse body organs, such as disease, health, tiredness, laziness, impotence, aches and pains etc., and to the higher organs of the body, such as mental exhaustions, idiocy, insanity, sleep and fainting spells, coma, anxieties and coarse desires etc., cannot come into the cadres of matter of that cosmos. There are no such things in the semi-subtle realm. Similarly, in the semi-subtle realm, there are no realities particular to the world, such as beauty, ugliness, youth or old age in the physical sense. And especially, the most basic and imperative reality of death, to which world matter is subject, does not exist at all in the semi-subtle realm. Instead, there are only imperceptible and very sweet transitions and changes of form, from one stage to another. The possibilities of matter at the hands of the beings in there give them the comprehension of space and time, which the world could not yet attain. By this means, they can build and dissolve the images they wish by themselves. They do not remain imprisoned by fixed images, unlike in the world. The life in here, with its one aspect, is more or less similar to the life which mankind calls etheric. However, the prevailing factor in the basic structure of this life is love.